Hello! You are currently located at the site of the largest migratory concentration of common nighthawks anywhere in the world. I'm glad you made it. My name is Steve Colby, and I work for the University of Minnesota's Natural Resources Research Institute here in Duluth. Our research group has been studying common nighthawk migration in Duluth since 2008. Before we dive in, just a little bit of background. Common nighthawks are a bird species in the nightjar family. You may be familiar with whippoorwills. Common nighthawks are in the same family. They aren't hawks like those with which you may be familiar, for example, red-tailed hawks perched on telephone poles along the side of the highway, but rather they get their name because they hawk, that is, catch, flying insects while they themselves are on the wing. They're relatively easy to identify by noting their incredibly long, slender wings that feature a white patch toward the end. Now let's talk about their migration. Common nighthawks are one of the last bird species to arrive in Minnesota in the spring and one of the first species to leave in the fall. They breed during our summer months throughout North America and spend the non-breeding season, our wintering months, in South America. Sounds nice. One of the remarkable things about nighthawk migration is how punctual they are. We typically begin counting on August 15th and stop counting on September 1st, and we've only rarely documented any large flights outside of those dates. They're also quite punctual over the course of the day. We count nighthawks from 5 p.m. until dark. We sometimes see nighthawks migrating other times of the day, but the peak period is almost always in the last few hours before dark. Since our group started counting nighthawks in 2008, we have tallied over 375,000 common nighthawks. Some of the largest flights have included just over 23,000 on August 26, 2024, just over 14,000 on August 21st, 2013, and just under 14,000 on August 19th, 2018. These are big numbers and especially impressive since they're all coming through in just a few hours. Sometimes the movement really is so intense that it's a challenge to keep up. But of course there are many other days where we see very few or no nighthawks. And what causes some days to produce large nighthawk flights and others very few? The weather. Conditions needed for a large nighthawk flight are relatively simple. Hot temperatures, the hotter the better, light winds, and westerly winds. East winds blow cold air off Lake Superior, and very few bird species like to migrate under these conditions. I hope there's a nighthawk flight happening tonight, but if not, I hope that you are at least taking notes on how to predict a flight so you can come back and see one. Let's review. August 15th to September 1st, 5 p.m. to dark, hot temperatures, light westerly winds. If you have that magic combination, more likely than not, you'll see lots of migrating nighthawks. I bet you'd also find some friendly folks down by the Lester River mouth who would be more than willing to point out birds and answer questions. Aside from the fun of it, why do we count common nighthawks? Counts like these can be used to develop population trends, especially for bird species that are difficult to survey during other seasons. Common nighthawks fit that description well. They typically occur in low densities, are only active for a very short period each day around dawn and dusk, and they don't bring attention to themselves by singing all morning like many other bird species. Accessing much of their northern breeding range or South American non-breeding range is also very difficult. By counting nighthawks here in Duluth, we can survey them at little cost and little effort, while still being able to develop population trends to monitor the health of those populations. Our current analysis shows stable or even slightly increasing numbers of common nighthawks migrating through Duluth since 2008. Great news! Thanks for listening. I hope that there's a nighthawk flight happening right now as you're watching this. And if so, go outside and watch. It's quite a spectacle.